Ladies and gentlemen, I am recording this video on November 3rd, 2025, and I have some good news. I am still a human. 100%. No AI, no deepfake, not a robot, don't have anything implanted. Which I suppose is exactly what a robot would say if it was trying to pretend that it hadn't taken on a human form, but that's besides the point. AI is a major talking point right now in the world. AI has progressed many things forward, but it has also impacted people in the workforce. Now, on this channel, I cover chess. In chess, AI has been better than humans for a long time. What we have figured out in the chess world is how to live side by side with our AI overlords. And in this video in particular, I'm going to be showing you a new development in chess artificial intelligence, and the fact that robots can now think, not just on the best chess move, they can literally create chess puzzles from scratch. They can just invent them, which, if you think about it, is unbelievably difficult. Each side at the beginning of a chess game has 16 pieces. There are 32 eligible pieces that you could put on a board. And they have to invent positions in their head that have never happened. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they did. It's actually quite fascinating. A lot of these positions are really trippy. You can pause the video before I reveal any answers. I will start with an appetizer, a very simple, well, simple is a bold word, very simple one, let's put it this way, and then they will get progressively harder. Yeah, these are completely mind-boggling, and, you know, the thing about a chess puzzle, most of you have solved a chess puzzle. You have a checkmate in one move, the simplest, or you have a checkmate in 2 or 3, or something a little bit more complicated. If you've never solved the chess puzzle, it is a position, generally from a real game, where you have a 1 or 2 move combination, and then you either win some material or checkmate your opponent, win the game like that. Same thing here, except these positions are completely made up with 4 or 5 different insane branches. So take this first one. Playing with the white pieces, you're down a little bit of material. Generally, if you're down material, it means that you have to win the game, like outright. You have no way to get your queen over here, but seasoned veterans of chess will see this position and will be like, well, you probably have some knight check. You have an idea here called the smothered mate, which is knight to f7 check, king to g8, double check with the knight and the queen, and then you sacrifice the queen, and then you get this checkmate. This is a famous pattern. If you have never seen this pattern, now you know the smothered mate pattern. Problem is, this is not a good move because black would just take it. And then you have this position, and suddenly black is almost promoting another pawn. It's a miracle that this position is still equal. Which is why the first move in this position is the incredible rook to c8. And what I love about these positions is that most of them involve sacrifices, most of them involve creative stuff. Rook to c8, a double sacrifice. You cannot take with this rook because, as we have just described, knight f7 would happen. If you take with this rook, now this tactic works. Why? Because the rook can't take, because now the queen would take that rook, and it would be back rank checkmate. So with the move rook c8, you attract the rooks like a magnet. But the thing is, this is not a check. Black is not forced to take. Black's best defensive response is queen takes b3. The rooks are both protected, and the queen is offered for a trade defended by the pawn. Now white has only one winning sequence. And the winning sequence here is to go back to this idea. And after king to g8, only one move that wins, pawn to d5. Disconnecting the queen from this diagonal. And that's it. Now you are threatening the famous smothered mate. Again, the only way to defend yourself here is to play queen d1 check, king to h2, queen to h5, the last attempt to target the knight. And if knight h6, you don't have a smothered mate anymore. It doesn't exist. So the winning move here for white is now to change plans and to jump the knight to d8. What could be the idea of putting the knight back here with the discovered attack? I don't get it. Well, the idea is that you now take this rook, and the knight is a shield. So the rook at the very beginning no longer defends that rook. So the computer invented this this nonsense basically from scratch. Knight d8 and rook a8, and white is totally winning because white is up at knight, white is also promoting, etc. Again, this very first one, rook to c8, if I just told you white to play and win, you would probably find the move rook to c8. And if you wouldn't, then, smile and wave, like the penguins of Madagascar. Now, from here, they're going to get absolutely crazy. So that was the first one. Here's the second one. White is winning. It looks like white has a very, very powerful attack. You would love to play queen h8. You can't play queen h8 because the black king would take the rook. Now, white is also down 10 points of material. If you are down 10 points of material, you generally need to end the game with checkmate. That's, Quidditch rules. Down 1,000,000 points, but catch the golden snitch and somehow you win, even though it's only worth, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. So this is the position, right? There's only one winning move, but the thing about this winning move is that there's an ocean of fascinating stuff that happens after. You can pause here if you'd like. You can try to solve it. I'm going to reveal the answer and then reveal the insane add-ons to all of this. Okay, so it looks very natural to play the move rook takes bishop, like rook takes, check, here, check, but the king runs away. King goes here. It looks like you have checkmate. The king goes here. It looks like you have checkmate, but the king actually just runs away. And even though you can win the queen, at the end of this really long sequence, you have no pieces left. You are still down 6 points of material, which is why in the very beginning, the first move is rook to e7 and only rook to e7. Only rook to e7. Black has to take this with the queen. That is the only way not to get mated immediately. The threat is now queen h8. So if you take with the bishop, you lose. Why do you lose? Because the bishop walls out the king's escape. The idea is to make the opponent choke on the rook. So they cannot, you can't run away. Now you have check here, the knight comes back here, and you have forced mate, but the cleanest is not to even give a check at all. It's to play this, and the threat is queen f7, and the threat is queen g6, and you cannot stop both. There is no way to prevent both moves. Okay, that was pretty simple. So, okay, I mean, don't take with the bishop, right? You take with the rook. Yes, now it gets even more amazing. Queen h8 here. If the king runs there, queen h5. If the king runs here, queen h5. The rook makes way. And now check out this nasty combination that the computer saw in advance. Check here, only move. Double check and mate. Knight and bishop both hit the king in the center of the board, and the king is mated. Which brings me to the final thing. What happens if queen takes? If queen takes, check, king f7, knight e5, king f6, queen h5, same sequence. Queen d7. Look at this move. Trying to give up the queen and also run away. It's actually really, you have to go here. The queen tries to give itself up. We already know that we can't take the queen. We need to go for mate. And now you have to find queen h4 check, g5. And by the way, if king takes, you have to find the only move, f3. f3. With the idea to take the knight and also win with queen g5 check, f3. You have to find this. You have to find rook e7, queen h8, king f7, knight e5, king f6, queen h5, queen d7, only defensive move, queen h4 check, king f5, f3 winning the game, but if g5, en passant. It's a cultured computer, king g7, queen h7, king f6, and now knight g4, forcing the king forward, the king takes, queen h4, king f3, queen g4. You have to solve 22 moves of this puzzle. Rook e7, the only move to survive is with the queen, and then, I mean, honestly, the most incredible thing about this position is being able to spot queen d7 and realizing that you don't even take the queen. You don't take the queen. You play queen h5 to force the queen to that square. Now, you might be wondering, why not just queen h4 to begin with? Because then, in this position, FG, king g7, queen h7, all this beautiful stuff, you don't have anything. You don't have a move here. The difference in this position versus the other one when the knight is on g4 and the queen is on d7 is that here you have knight e3. And with the queen on the other square, you don't have this. All right? You might be wondering, Levy, it looks the exact same. What's so special about this? No, there is no queen h4. You need queen h4 and queen g4 mate. In the other sequence, the queen is here and queen h4 is possible. That is, how did it come up with that? Keep in mind, it invented this from nothing. From nothing. This is only the second position of the video. How did it come up with these tiny details? Terrifying. Next one. This one is actually quite viral because chess.com recorded something with a bunch of content creators to solve this. This one is not solvable. I mean, like, really, I stared at this. This is the first one. This gave me the inspiration to make the video because I looked at this position for like 5 minutes and I was like, I don't know. Just straight up was like, I have no idea. White is winning, but white is only winning with one sequence of moves. And it looks like you gotta sacrifice something. My first thought here with white was to play the move queen a2. I thought this move just wins immediately because I'm setting up a discovered attack, and if the king goes to h8, I just sack my rook, and then I get my queen in. I was like, maybe it's a quiet move like queen a2. No, queen a2 is idiotic. It's just the point that black starts checking you. And once black starts checking you, you're never going to escape the checks. So keeping that in mind, you cannot go queen a2. This is one of the only checks that black has. So I was looking at like different ideas. So here's the move, okay? You can pause, try to solve it. The answer is rook to g6. So you sacrifice the rook, okay? Obviously, if king h8, there's mate all over the place. Black can either take this rook or take this rook. Regardless of what is the next move, the move that you play is queen a1. Threatening mate on g7. There is no check. The game is over. Takes. By the way, it actually doesn't matter. The crazy thing is queen a1 is still the move. And so the only way that black can do anything here is to take with the king and lose like this, which is just mind-blowing. That, like, in the end, you lose with the queen standing here and the king over there. So really, it actually doesn't matter what piece is taken. They both have to be taken. You have to eat both rooks. So it's a double rook sack. And the game ends with queen f6, king g8, bishop h6, and the queen cannot check the king. Every square is covered, and queen g7 mate is unstoppable. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. Every single piece is important. Maybe c6 is not that important. Like, you could probably remove the c6 pawn. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that would impact some solving. Like, maybe you have some move in the beginning. But, yeah, just a quick little, double rook sacrifice featuring retreating the queen to the corner of the board. Yeah, obviously. I mean, that makes sense. By the way, how did it even come up with this? I mean, just think, like, how do you, back in the day, people would win awards for puzzle compositions. I don't think this one would. Like, this one is, maybe this one would. Maybe it's very, very pretty. I don't know. But, like, how do you even come up with both rooks can be taken and will be taken, and it doesn't matter because queen a1, you stop any counterattack. Every single square is covered. Nuts. Nuts. This one is pretty simple in the sense that, like, the previous one, there was like 100 branches. I got more. I got more. This one is awesome. This one's really cool. Black is up 7 points of material, which means that with white, we need to deliver something very powerful. You look at this position, you go, okay, I mean, I can make a queen. That looks pretty good. If I do make a queen, which looks like it should win the game, it doesn't, because black takes the queen, takes, and then just takes the knight. And now you have 3 pieces for a rook and a bunch of pawns. And this is just, you're not going to win this. You have no way to get a back rank checkmate. So you can't queen. Okay, so we can't queen. Check doesn't do anything. What do we do? Well, we can go for checkmate. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to go for checkmate. Queen to e6, queen g8 is mate. The only way to stop that is to take the knight. And then we're going to take... Wait, are we? Because then black is going to take this pawn, and it looks like we are winning. It looks like we attack the queen, we threaten mate, and we threaten this. what's really cruel about this position is that it's equal. If black just sacks the queen. Now that's crazy. So this looks like it's totally winning, except black plays knight to b4, and even though we get some pawn, we can lose. We can lose. How did the computer figure out that black can win this position if white is not careful? Like, somehow the white king is insanely weak, so we can't take, we have to attack the knight goes here, we go here. I mean, it's chaos. This position is, and you can still lose. You can still lose because the rook goes to d2 on the next move. Okay, so queen e6, they take. Queen e6, they take. What do we do? Oh, I got it. I got it. Easy. Easy. We queen, so that when we get taken, it's mate. And if they take us like this, we take, and it's mate. No. No. If queen e6 and they take and we make a queen, black goes here. And the queen is trapped. Yo, the queen is straight up trapped. And it can be taken on the next move, because even though this looks like mate, queen h1, king goes forward, knight b4, king c3, queen c1. What the what? Queen e6 takes, you cannot queen because they go here and the queen is trapped. So then how is it winning? Well, it's winning, duh. I mean, how did you not solve this? You have to promote. You just have to promote to a... You have to promote to a knight. Because the threat is not against the king. It's not against the king. The threat is against the queen. The threat is against the queen. That is the threat, and the threat is against the king also, just in a very different way. In a smothered weight type, smothered weight. Oh my god. Smothered mate type of way. Now if this gets taken, it's mate. But bishop f8 now would make no sense, because if you play bishop f8, I win the queen for free, and now I'm winning. So you go queen e6 takes, and you promote to a freaking knight, obviously. How did you guys not figure that out? Black would go here, only move, queen and knight f7, and white is winning. This position, white is winning. Why is white winning here compared to some of the other positions? The bishop is hanging, and if you try to save the bishop, I can play like rook e1, rook e8, and then I actually get to the king first. Because here, it looks like there is something, but there's nothing. The knight and the pawn cannot do anything. They need a little bit more help. Unreal. Unbelievable. Nuts. Crazy. D8 knight. Two more. You got two more here. This one's also quite fun. If you were paying attention to the last one, maybe you can solve this one as well. Here, white is very, very close to actually being completely lost. Not even about completely winning. It's about completely lost. This rook is just hanging. So if white played like a3, you know, black would take with check, and the king would move somewhere. And then, I mean, you can't take right away, because then this would happen, and then there would be mate. But if you are not careful with white, you will lose your rook, you will get counterattacked, the queen will come out, you will lose. Okay, so we begin this position with the move rook to d8. The idea of rook to d8 is quite straightforward. It attacks the queen. If the rook takes, we sneak in right here. We sneak into f8, and it's mate. It's mate. We take, take. Okay, fair enough. If queen takes, we take with a queen, you know, we make a queen, life is... Wait a minute, is life good? Is life good? Because the bishop would take. We can't go to the back rank. Wait a minute. We can't do anything. Why can we not do anything? Hey, when we move this pawn, the queen is hanging. We completely forgot about the fact that after we go here and the queen takes, after check, we have two hanging queens. So king h1 or king f1, it doesn't matter. One queen gets taken and the other one is still under attack. So we now have a hanging queen and a hanging rook. We lose. We lose the game. Doesn't matter where we put the king. It doesn't matter if we put the king on h1. This hangs, we lose. Which means, after rook d8 and queen d8, like I said, if you've been paying attention, you gotta take and make a knight. And the queen survives because you cannot take it. And if this, which looks very natural, we take with check, and this rook can't block because it would be mate anyway. And if this, check here, and you would need to win the endgame, which is winning because you have a queen, and you're probably going to win a couple pawns, and then you would win after some 40, 50 moves. It would take a little while. Rook d8, queen d8, and you know what I love is that even if there's checks, the king walks out. If there was a check, the king walks out. And then if this, now you actually can promote to anything because your queen is not hanging. You could even make a bishop. And this position you would win. Last but not least, sometimes you have a position where you don't win. You don't win. You're playing black here. You are down 5 pawns, which is normal for your games. I would say that's just an average Wednesday. You are playing with black. You are down 5 pawns somehow. You have 1 and they have 6. I don't know how you managed to do that, but obviously you still have some ideas to attack the king, but you cannot take this. If you take on g3, white just goes here and then just has to find a move. King h2, rook g4. It looks like you have ladder mate. There's no ladder mate. If anything, you get mated. So that doesn't work. But what you do have is rook takes h2. Now that move looks like it does absolutely nothing. Does nothing, because what is even the follow-up, right? Well, there is a follow-up. The follow-up is, for example, if they don't take the rook. They don't take the rook. They offer you this trade to try to get a winning position. The idea is that you are like a boomerang. You go back to h7, and you attack the queen, and this is a very important move, because the queen has to move, and when it does move, you take on g3, king goes here, you chop, you go rook h1, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you roar back and you win the game. So the idea of rook h2 is actually that your rook has to be taken, and then after queen h6, you know, the king has to go here. Where would you sack everything? I don't know. I guess you go queen h4, attacking the pawn on g3, because of the pin, there's no way to defend this pawn. The idea is rook g3, queen h2, or queen g3, or whatever. So, you know, white defends themselves. Now, if they run, you check, they go here, you check, they go here, you check, they go here, you check, etc. But if they go here, well, yeah, then you sacrifice the second rook. Why? Because you are stalemated. It's like Sudoku. It's like when nothing fits in a square except one thing, right? You cut off all the circulation and you play queen h2, and black survives. Black survives because the king has no moves, and anywhere the king moves, we can say that the king is checkmated. The king is checkmated, kind of. It has to take the queen. It has no choice. And black survives the worst of it. Drawing puzzles are very fun because they're very practical. Like sometimes when you're losing, you have to find, you know, the way to survive the game. Now I didn't show you all of them. There was some others, but and you can maybe I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out for yourself. There was a bunch of endgame puzzles, which I didn't think were particularly interesting. I'm much more fascinated by like 9-move checkmating sequences where a queen defensive square by 1 square determines a checkmate, you know, some 15 ply into the future. But yeah, so we have a problem, you know, in the world with AI, not to mention, you know, what is it, like energy and resource consumption and people losing jobs and all that stuff, and deep fakes and scams and robocalling and all that stuff. But in chess, computers are pretty mind-blowing. And we just kind of accepted it, and we try to use their opening ideas, and they're better than us, but we use them for content here on the GothamChess YouTube channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Pretty unique one as far as my content goes. I don't think I've ever made a video like this. But I've also made like 2,500 videos, so maybe there's something in the catalog from a few years ago. That's all. Yeah, you know the drill now. Get out of here. Oh, and I guess if you're watching this in November, we will be making World Cup coverage because the World Cup is going on in chess right now. More on that later. Get out of here for the second time.